Greg Halich. I am located just southwest of Lexington, Kentucky, about 18 miles, in kind of the heart of what is called the Bluegrass and southern part of Woodford County. Just as a baseline, the farm that I've been managing for about 10 years, it's 4 miles from here. The average there is about 5.5 to 6% organic matter. So, and you can see all the broom sedge here. So this farm is severely depleted. So essentially, if I want to bring this up to full production, I would have two choices. I mean, assuming I'm using good grazing management in both of them. One would be to bring in commercial fertilizer. The other would be essentially bringing in fertility from hay and bale grazing to get that same effect. Short run, probably have better production with commercial fertilizer would be my guess, but long run, I'll guarantee you that the long run productivity of this farm will be much higher with bale, doing this, essentially bringing those nutrients by bale grazing versus commercial fertilizer. There's a way to do bale grazing in the eastern U.S. There's a way to do bale grazing in the high plains where it originated. And they're two different things. I mean, it's like dairy cows and beef cattle. I mean, they're almost two different species, right? So the biggest problem I see people doing here in the east is they see what has been done in North Dakota or Saskatchewan or something like that, and they put 20 bales to the acre, and then they are doing that in the wet conditions, and yeah, you're going to have a mess. So the reason we started bale grazing was simply because we didn't have a tractor over there. I had a friend that had a tractor 2 miles down the road, so we could set out hay at one time, but it wasn't like I was going to borrow his tractor 2 or 3 times a week to do that. So we started bale grazing simply out of necessity. It was the only way I could figure out to essentially feed hay in the wintertime and not have to have a tractor out there. So that's how it started. To me, building up the organic matter of your soil is probably the single best thing you can do for the resiliency of not just a grass farm, but even, say, a row crop farm. I mean, that's a long-term improvement. When you build up that organic matter, and we see this on that other farm, and neighbors, not neighbors, but farmers just down the road that I know, at least one of them, that sees it, he's commented, we'll go through we'll be into what I call a mild drought where other pastures have shut down, even rotationally grazed pastures have shut down, and ours are still, green as can be and going. So, we get a few extra weeks of growth where versus, say, a soil that's, say, 3 or 4% organic matter is kind of shut down, we get a few more weeks with that increased organic matter. I don't think it's necessarily, some people think it's from the hay waste, and obviously you'll get some benefit from there, but I think the biggest benefit, and I've looked at this and I've heard people talk about this, and it's true, you can add up all the organic matter in that, whether it's hay waste or the organic matter you get from, say, a cover crop, and it's so small in relation to what you would have to build up the organic matter 1% that you're not getting it. That's not what's causing the biggest increase in organic matter. Where you're getting the big increase in organic matter is you have a healthier pasture sward, and you're getting actually more organic matter created through that system than what is being, say, left on the ground from hay waste. And a lot of this is really just coming out in the last few years that the biggest potential for organic matter increases is not the organic waste, it's what actually is being pumped into the ground by the plants themselves, what some people call liquid carbon, to feed the soil microbes. So I'm convinced that bale grazing indirectly through that process of increasing the amount of effective fertilizer that you're getting in that pasture, long run you're building up the organic matter of your soil through that process, more so than the hay waste is occurring. Hay, this is fairly expensive hay. It's $40 a roll plus delivery. I think it works out to about $90 or $100 a ton delivered. It's good hay. But I don't want to waste much. I want that going through the animal, the steer. The fertilizer I want to see is coming out the back end of that animal, and that's all I'll say there is, why would you want fertilizer that's not being, transposed through your animal, and it's actually better fertilizer coming out the back end of those steers than it is like this. It'll cycle quicker. That's kind of the ultimate definition of downward spiral. The pastures are going, in the short run, are going downhill so quickly. The growth is getting lower and lower, and your pastures aren't going to keep up on it. So either your animals are going to go hungry, you're going to have to start feeding hay, which is what a lot of people start doing in the summertime. That would be kind of the short-term problems. Long-term problems are what's going to happen to that pasture the next season or the next year. I don't think we've ever seen research on this, but I'm pretty sure that when you start overgrazing your pastures, that's having a detrimental effect on your organic matter. It's definitely, when you're leaving less residual, I guess the other problem with that is if you get rain, you don't have as much buffer in that grass to kind of slow the rain down to kind of absorb part of it in the grass itself as it slowly starts seeping down. So in the short run, you're going to have less you get a heavy storm, you're going to have less infiltration, or have less of that rain effectively getting into the soil. The temperature of the soil is going to increase. So again, if we're talking cool season grasses, those are some of the reasons why that production suffers so much when you get in that overgrazed situation. But long run, which may be more important, is just that I'm convinced that organic matter, it's either and you may mean you're not losing organic, but you're just not building it. In other words, you're staying at 3% versus someone that has a lower stocking rate and has better grazing practices. They're slowly building that organic up to 6%, which, by the way, means they're going to essentially hold almost twice the water that your pastures can. And so they had to come back to a place second time. Hey there, Big Red. You're gonna... Hi there. Hi there.